Resurgent India Knowledge Series in association with A5 presents a virtual session on MSME funding, overcoming fundraising challenges. Moderator Mr. K. Gupta, Director, Resurgent India Limited. Eminent speakers Mr. P. Ravi Kumar, Chief General Manager, NSIC. Mr. Ashutosh Taparia, MD and CRO, Credible. Mr. Aditya Damani, Founder and CEO, Credit Fair. Mr. Kare Manoj Dharmaraj, General Manager, Bank of Maharashtra. Mr. Dhrubashish Bhattacharya, General Manager, Bank of Baroda.
Good evening, friends. I am again your host K. Gupta, Director, Resurgent India. You are aware that Resurgent India is a merchant banker, investment banker. We are also conducting viability study for the various units, and we also in panel with almost all the banks for conducting a technical economical viability study. We are also providing the training to the bankers and also in insolvency. I think this is our more than 200 webinars under the series of Resurgent India. And we are also conducting webinar under the series of Association for Financial Advisor of India. Today's topic is very important, although we have touched almost all the topics, whether we are talking about infrastructure or NBFC or SME sector, restructuring and how to lend the money and what are the monitoring aspects. Everything we are trying to cover it. Now, today's topic is also important with eminent speakers with us, as from the opening we introduced them. This session is on MSME funding, overcoming fundraising challenges. How to overcome the challenges? That is an important aspect which we are going to discuss. When we are talking about the challenges, the major aspect which any webinar, which any seminar, even with the IVA meeting, we are discussing about the finance. Now, digital financing solution is a major challenge. Lack of technical know-how and infrastructure, building capability. Leverage platform like OCN, Open Credit Enablement Network, data security and privacy, AI-driven cybersecurities, and there are many solutions. We are not talking about the main challenges. Some solutions are also available under the systems. When we are talking about the importance of the SME sector, either we talk about the export, or we talk about the GDP, or we talk about the employment. These are the three major aspects in any economy. To achieve the 5 trillion economy, SME will play a very important role. It is also envisages that GDP ratio for the SME sector during coming years should go up to 50%. That means SME in the coming days to achieve the 5 trillion economy will going to play a very important role under this system. Now we are talking about the gap. When we are talking about the SME sector, so there is a huge credit gap. When about talking about the registration under the Udyog, so under the SME sector, we are talking about 6.34 crore SME existence, out of which only 1.35 crore SME are registered. When we are talking about the gap, it is hardly 14% of the registered of the total SME sector. They are availing the credit facility from the banking sector. That means we're talking about the gap. It is 513 million US dollars. There is a gap. for the SME sector. Out of 64 billion SME, only 14% are availing the facilities. Substantial fundraising hurdles. When we are talking about the hurdles, we are talking about the scarcity of the collateral security, stringent credit requirements, financial literacy, complex regulatory landscapes, access of diversified financing avenue, lack of proven track records to attract the investors, compelling many of the resort to costlier informal lending channels. So an entire we are going to discuss. So we are eminent speaker with us. So first of all, I want to invite Shri Stosh Taparia, who is MD, CRO, credible. He is an expert. He is experienced under the supply chain financing professional. Stosh has a problem solving and forging strong client relationship. So I request Mr. Taparia ji, please discuss what are the challenges SME sector are facing and what solution in your mind which can be helpful to the SME sector to overcome such challenges. So I hand over to Mr. Taparia to please inform the members. I'm very happy to inform you that more than 500 registration with us. And most of the are a member of the associations. Even the bankers are also participating under the program. So I request Mr. Taparia, please give your thought about the challenges of the SME sector.
Sure.
Mr. Taparia.
Thank you, Gupta ji, for setting up the context beautifully. Now, the relevance of MSMEs is not hidden from anyone, right? So globally, MSMEs contribute about 90% of the businesses. It's about 50% of the GDP. India is actually trailing behind. Today, the MSMEs contribute a third of our GDP. The MSME contribution is likely to be $1 trillion by 2028. Like Gupta ji mentioned, formal credit access to MSMEs is minuscule today. There is a large funding gap of about close to $500 billion. The other larger issue is the growth at which MSMEs are increasing in the country is about 33% annualized, whereas the supply of capital for the MSME sectors is increasing at 11%. So the issue of existing gap is going to get compounded over the years unless until we solve for this. Now, there are challenges around enabling financing for MSMEs. Digital financing is one of the means to solve for this gap. But let's first understand what are the broad challenges around financing for these MSMEs, right? First and foremost is information asymmetry. Second is the way most of the lenders, whether it's banks, NBFCs, formal credit, informal credit, right? They provide access to lending to these MSMEs. The historic way of providing access is go through financials, go through ratios, understand the cash flows, and enable financing. A lot of these MSMEs don't have required data. They don't have proper bookkeeping. They don't have all the details that conventional lenders would need to get them formal means of credit. The third broad challenge is around technology. India has done exceptionally well ahead of the curve across most of the countries. The India Tech Stack launched in 2019 was ahead of time. A lot of government initiatives were led in the India Tech Stack. Open, etc., which has come very recently in, say, 2020. That's also ahead of time. Now, these are means of solving for some of the concerns around financing through technology, but are MSMEs equipped enough to understand the technology and solve for it? The second broad bucket of challenge is around technology limitation that MSMEs in general face. And of course, then the entire aspect around financial literacy, right? So digital financing, a broad tool in terms of solving for enabling financing, which means providing cash flow based financing, invoice discounting, supply chain, securitization, etc. A lot of this would sound alien to a lot of the MSMEs in the country today. So what can we do in terms of enabling financial literacy to the MSMEs? So from the way I see this, there are three broad buckets of these challenges. One is around how do the lenders or how should the lenders underwrite and enable liquidity? Second is broadly around technology. What can technology do to enable financing for the MSMEs? And third, and a bigger aspect around financial literacy. Now, so these are the broad challenges. Now, what can we do to overcome these, right? Now, in terms of overcoming these, creating financial models which are not predicated on historic sort of bookkeeping, accounting, etc. But if these are predicated on cash flows, GST, bank statement, data inputs which are coming in from centralized sources and not from MSMEs, which are required to maintain a lot of this data, can we tilt or pivot our credit underwriting models into models which are more receptive to accepting data pointers rather than accepting sort of formal accounting inputs overall. Now, that's where a lot of lenders are also pivoting towards. A lot of banks have started using technology tech stack to provide underwriting capabilities which are predicated on data, and that directionally that's moving in the right direction, but is it moving at the right speed, pace? Can we pick that up in terms of enabling more credit, faster credit to the MSME sector is something which can be questioned. Second is limitations around technology. Some initiatives are taken by the regulator. So that's really, really welcoming around what's happening on the ONDC, OCAN, etc. space, UPI lending space. The other aspect around technology is what can individual lenders do with technology? Can we ensure that lenders predicate credit risk through assessment models which are digitally underwritten so that there is access to MSME loans with underwriting model which are digital? I'll draw an analogy. Retail space, retail lending in India has got transformed significantly. A lot of retail lending happens through digital underwriting mechanisms, right? Credit cards are given out through digital underwriting, etc. Can the same application be used in terms of doing MSME lending as well across all the lenders, right? So can we pivot from doing paper-based assessment into digital underwriting assessment? Can we also ensure the MSMEs have easier interfaces, whether it's an interface or an API, so that they can get hooked onto some of these platforms which lenders are using? Now, it could be a lender specific platform, or it could be an aggregated platform where MSMEs can come at large, lenders can get attached at large and enable financing. Third is the entire onus around financial literacy, which I think is a heavy lifting that the entire industry has to do, not just the lenders, not just the regulator, but each of the participants, including fintechs like us. How do we ensure financial literacy so that MSMEs understand basic products and they can avail financing at ease? A complex mix of solving for a lot of these problems and the entire industry coming together is the right way forward as from enabling financing to MSME and bridging the credit gap for the MSMEs.
Thank you, Mr. Stosh. I think you have got very nicely. You're talking about the digital financing. You're talking about the credit underwriting, technology, retail lending. You're talking about the financial literacy. When we're talking about the credit underwriting, what do you mean for that? Some underwriters should there who can underwrite the credit given by the banks, because this SME of the credit country schemes are available with us. So you can explain what are the underwriting you are talking about?
So I think fundamentally any loans which is given out by any lender goes through an underwriting process. Now it's basically the process basis which any lender would decide whether they would want to lend and what quantum would they want to lend to a particular borrower. Now, when I say credit underwriting and automation of the same, what I mean by that is the process today across a lot of lenders is heavily dependent on assessment based on paper, based on financials, based on historic data. Can the entire process be pivoted through data which can be culled out through API connections? Can the process be moved out to using data from an API call of the GST plugin and see what are the GST performances of the MSME over the last 12, 18 months? Can the data reflect on bank statement or account aggregator information and pull out details in terms of what's the actual collections and payments happening for the SMEs? In fact, fintechs like Credible, we work in terms of enabling digital underwriting tech stack for banks so that they can make use of these tech stacks to credit decide which borrower would they want to lend to, which borrower would they not want to lend to, and the decision can almost be pseudo real time. So imagine we can get into a situation where a loan application is made, in 20 seconds, the bank can decide whether they would want to give money or not to an MSME based on a pre-authorized parameter by the lender. And this could be done across various parameters, whether the bank wants to do a loan, a dealer financing, vendor financing, etc. Right?
Whether the fintech company, what you're talking about, can play a role of underwriting.
The fintech company can definitely play a role of ensuring the tech stacks are available for lenders to do the underwriting. So fintech companies cannot reinvent the wheel in terms of telling a bank how to lend. That's the job of the bank. But once a bank knows these are the parameters they want to check, what the fintech company can do is provide them technology to do the underwriting. So it's not about telling them where to lend, how to lend. It's about once a bank decides these are the parameters basis which we want to lend, then can we automate the same so that the decision making is fastened? Imagine there were times when a bank wanted to run dealer financing programs. They were taking an onboarding of an average dealer anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks, if not more. Today, in today's scenario, this can happen in 4 hours flat. The entire underwriting, onboarding, KYC, signing of the documentation can happen within 4 hours flat by lenders. So imagine the scale that we can bring in if we provide faster timelines to onboarding and disbursement of loans. That means the MSMEs will have capital far faster than what they would have normally if this was paper based.
Excellent, Astosh. I think this is the first, actually, we have conducted so many webinars. This is the first thoughts I came into mind, where the credit underwriting can be there. I think, yeah, excellent. So I remember that when I entered in banking sector, there was a guarantee broker. I'm talking about 50 or 60 years before. There were a credit, even when a bank is lending some money, there were a guarantee brokers who give a guarantee. If the account will go to be a non-performing asset, they can give some loans. They can, you can say, reimburse the loan amount. That concept, what you're talking about, I remember that 60 years before some concept was there. When we are talking underwriting, I think this is most important aspect which you have suggested. I think in the first webinar, where can we can understand a new concept, you are suggesting something. So, Mr. Stosh, you are expert in a supply chain. You have got that experience. How the supply chain can help the SME sector?
I think there's
Yes.
tremendous benefit of supply chain from an SME or an MSME sector perspective. I think fundamentally, if you have to look at basic credit, right, there is a lot of comfort when any lender is lending to large organizations. So if a lender is to lend to a AAA credit rated company, which is $1 billion plus turnover, there'll be a lot more comfort than lending to a very small SME with very limited financial data available, right? What supply chain really helps do is capture ecosystem of credible corporates, right? So it could be a large corporate, it could be a mid-sized corporate. These corporates buy from a variety of suppliers, sell through a variety of dealers. Now, these suppliers and dealers in turn have their own sub-suppliers or retailers through which they operate. Now, there is an entire ecosystem which is hovering around a corporate, and then you've got suppliers on one side, the dealers on the other side, and the suppliers have then multiple layers moving to each side. Now, what supply chain financing really does is keeping any corporate at the heart of the structure, using the data which comes from the corporate, either on the EP side or on the ER side, putting in credit structures which will provide far more credit worthiness to lending to these SMEs, right? Now, a simple example is if an SME is applying to a large corporate, they have receivables from the large corporate. If the large corporate provides acceptance of these invoices, then a supply chain financing or a reverse factoring can happen to these SMEs. Likewise, if on the other side, if an SME is buying from a large corporate and is a dealer to a large corporate, has a history of dealing with the large corporate, there is a trend which can be established based on which dealer financing can be done. Now, what platforms like Credible do is we capture the entire ecosystem together of large corporates or mid-sized corporates and enable financing to the SMEs at large. Now, this is classic cash flow back financing. On a standalone basis, the SME could have inferior credit standing or probably was not bankable in line with any lender's credit parameters. But if they have receivables from a AA, AAA, BB, BBB plus rated entity, so credit wise far superior to the SME, then any bank would draw a lot of comfort because the payment risk would be of a counterparty which is far superior from a credit perspective, and then financing structures can be stitched. So this supply chain financing is a classic way of moving away the entire lending approach from evaluating standalone credit worthiness of the borrower, standalone ability of the borrower to maintain bookkeeping, to maintain financial record consistently, etc., into a structure where they know how to do their business with a large counterparty. They've been dealing with a counterparty, providing services or goods, receiving money on time, and hence availing financing backed on these receivables. Credible is probably one of the largest supply chain platform in the country today. We do in excess of close to about $1.5 billion, and we work with 125 plus large corporates in the country today doing just this. There is enough and more market in India in terms of working with large corporates, getting the ecosystem of the SMEs onto any platform and enabling banks to lend into these ecosystems. Now, uniquely, what happens is when you're doing supply chain financing, it's not just about capturing ecosystem of a corporate. Technically, you can do multi-level of supply chain financing. Imagine you're working with an auto OEM, they buy from first level suppliers. Most of the first level suppliers of large OEMs are large companies themselves. You can actually go to suppliers who are supplying to first level suppliers and enable financing. You're actually removing credit worthiness of the second level suppliers, substituting that from a financing and risk appetite perspective of any bank to actually the OEM, which is two levels above the supplier. And then it also helps the bank from a capital adequacy perspective, a better return of the asset, as well as in and from an overall at large ecosystem, you're providing liquidity to SMEs and underwriting credit risk of someone who's far superior to that SME. So I think there is tremendous application of supply chain financing. And we see a lot of corporates resorting to supply chain financing, both on the buy side as well as sell side, to support the MSME ecosystem. Is it enough? Can we do more? Of course, my humble view is we can do a lot more than what is being done. But I think these are the right steps that we've taken in terms of enabling liquidity to the MSME ecosystem.
Supply chain, Mr. I am taking too much time from you because you are a very important person for me. So you tell me how it is different between trade platform and the supply chain. Whether trade platform is not a better option than the supply chain?
It's pretty similar, right? The problem is so large that it's not the onus of one solution to solve for it. Cumulatively, trades, ecosystem platforms like Credible, banks directly, together we are solving, still there is a gap of $530 billion, right? So, and the approach to solving some of these problems are different, whether you talk about trades or us. But fundamentally, everyone is trying to solve the same problem. The problem is just too large. We need many more people like us, more trades, more credibles, more banks to be solving for this, or we need all of us to be solving it far faster. Then only the gap would reduce. Like I said, the gap is just increasing year on year because the demand of capital by the MSMEs is increasing far faster than the supply of capital coming into the sector.
Very nice, very nice. I'm thankful to. I will come back to you. Now I'm coming to Sri Aditya Damani. He's a founder and CEO, Credit Fair. He embarked on a transformative journey 2018, driven by impassioned commitment to enhance the financial inclusions for undeserved Indians. Armed with an MBA with a esteemed London Business School, Aditya Global Financial include impact stint, and he is expert for a private equity, setting up a leading business in India. Mr. Damani, just we are talking to you the scope for the SME sector. Because the capital play very important role for SME. Even bank, when we are going to finance, they are asking how much contribution from their side, either in shape of a capital or use for the unsecured loan, that is a term liability. Even now, you know that assets-based lending is order of the day. We are talking about the assets-based lending instead of coming to cash flow lending. We'll come back to you in that respect. I'm just asking you how private equity funds can play roles to gap the credit gap. That means private equity.
Right.
For which you are expert, Mr. Damani. Please.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for having me. And I am currently more on the operating side, but before I did my MBA, I have advised a few PE funds. So we'll share my perspective. I think private equity funds are critical for the growth and development of MSMEs in India. And if you think about it, it's not just about facilitating flow of credit, but you also need a good equity base to be able to get more credit right into the system. So that's why private equity can play a role across the value chain. We have seen that, of course, NBFCs and fintechs require a lot of capital, and private equity and VC funds have been very active. They have they have invested over $18 billion in 5 years as of this March. So, and we need much more of that, because if it's like $500 billion or, whatever the gap that we're looking to fill, then that will require maybe another, at least 50 billion more probably, or maybe even $100 billion of equity to be able to facilitate about a $500 billion of credit into the system. So we do feel that private equity will play a critical role in the growth, and they can also help with the credit funds that have been coming up. We have seen that the RBI has got a little cautious on unsecured lending. And I think that whether it's consumer or even for MSME, somehow that is having an impact. So by launching credit funds and by facilitating flow of credit even to smaller businesses, PE funds can lock in a good opportunity today when interest rates are a bit high, and at the same time reduce the credit gap into the system. Finally, the way we expect that private equity funds will also play a big role is in the equity side. So, a lot of PE funds today do deals typically more than $10 million, $20 million. But if they can start doing more of transactions, even as small as $2 million, then I think the number of MSMEs who can benefit will really increase. And further, there's a good ecosystem now for exits as well, right? Earlier you could only exit if you could do an IPO on the main board. But now SME IPOs have become a big thing. There are a lot of pre-IPO to listing that can also be done in SMEs. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, and there's also clear path of exit for private equity funds. So I think there will be a good amount of interest in the years to come.
Very nicely. Mr. Damani, at that time asking you, this is IPO, we're talking about the IPO. In 2022, there was 109 IPOs.
Right.
100% was successful, and amount was 1,980 crore rupees. All are successful. Why in 2003 we are talking about a 47 IPO income? So what do you feel that IPO is very important aspect for the SME sector? Why is it not coming so frequently, and why our SME sector is shying to come up the IPO? Have any view on that aspect, Mr. Damani?
I think the number has definitely increased. I don't have the exact data in front of me right now, but if you see on BSE, NSE, every week there are a lot of SME IPOs, and a lot of them are very heavily oversubscribed as well. But I think from the SME promoters' perspective, there are two things. One is, the additional compliance cost, which they might not fully understand, or even the rules they might not fully able to kind of understand as well as absorb the cost of it. I think secondly, it's like, it might be just about education as well, as Mr. Ashutosh was saying, right? That are they fully aware of this option? Are they fully aware that this is a very good option, which which would help them in the long term for their business? Typically, they are not used to an SME entrepreneur might not be used to answering to anyone, right? So getting into that habit of being answerable of the committees, the compliances, etc., which are apart from the standard regulatory ones. I think just a matter of seeing a few people do it well, seeing their businesses benefit, and then more and more people will try to learn from it and imitate it.
The important aspect for the IPO, because the figure are available with me in 2021, it was 59 IPOs, amounting 787 crore. And 2022, it was 109 IPOs. Amount is 1,980. Now we are talking about 23rd. It is 47 IPO, 881 crore rupees. IPO is an important role for financing to the capital of the SME sector. I
Right.
think it is a very important 100% success rate is there. So IPO will play an important role. Now we come on to digital financing, Mr. Aditya.
Yes.
Digital financing is an important aspect. Lekin major aspect is data security and privacy. How you feel that? How is the data security and this privacy
Right.
can be maintained for the digital financing?
Right. Yeah, I think it's been good to see the digital lending guidelines from RBI. There is a lot of effort being put into raising the awareness as well on your data, on protecting the data. So I think one is like more education for the SMEs so that they're aware who is a trustworthy lender and who's not a trustworthy lender. If they can identify the right the right apps or the right providers to trust, I think that is more than half the battle done. Because when you're maybe really stressed for money and you just want to get money anywhere anyhow, you might not pay enough attention to these small things. But it does obviously become a critical aspect, because if you lose control of your data, and then if someone else uses your documents, for example, to take loans, then your credit history can get completely affected. So I think awareness of where to go, and what data to share or not share, what permissions to give or not give, I think that is rising. And also RBI and let's say even Google Play Store are delisting so many apps. So it's getting better, but ultimately it's the responsibility of the MSME to be on top of this. I think there's also there are a lot of different tools which the government is enabling, whether it's a OSIN coming out. Account aggregator today has data on the individual accounts. It doesn't have on the SME or corporate accounts. So more of such data, as it starts getting more exposed on the digital infrastructure, things will get more secure, more safe. And we see the problem now has become that people are just scared of giving any OTP at all. So even if we try to pull the GST records of some customer, they are scared to give that OTP. So I think that balance needs to be struck, where maybe instead of OTP, some other like mode has to come in, which people are not scared of, but which is also secure.
Thank you, Mr. Aditya. I will come back to you. Now I'm coming to Mr. Kare Manoj Dharmraj, who is a Field General Manager, Bank of Maharashtra. He started his career in 1993. And over the year, after successful heading various rural, urban, and metro branches and administrative offices, he rose to the designation of General Manager. As a General Manager, he is spread heading the business of Bombay South Zone. And under his leadership, Mumbai South Zone is continuously rising to a new height. He is a very professional banker and good administrator and corporate servicing. Welcome, Mr. Manoj here. So just I'm talking you, Sir Manoj sir. Because there is emergency line of credit, which government or Reserve Bank introduced in a COVID period, are very successful. Where you feel that now these credit guarantee schemes are available to banking sector, still banks are shy to give collateral-free loan up to 5 crore rupees as envisaged under this scheme. Do you have in your mind that this emergency line of credit should continue so that SME sector should not face any difficulty to arrange for a collateral security or anything else? And banker also should not be shy to give loan without a collateral security. Have any view, Mr. Manoj sir?
Sir, thank you very much, Gupta ji, for calling me on this show. And yes, MSME is very dear subject to the banker, since there is pressure from government also. And since economy also having the MSME is an integral part of the Indian economy, contributing significant to the GDP, as my learned friend said, it is almost 50%. So government continuously implementing measures to improve and giving encouragement for the MSME. The first and the foremost thing I would like to say, and I observed that these MSME people are hardly having a financial knowledge, how to do it, and from where they will get the credit. And that is the major hurdle. And I always advocate they should be expert in their area, not in the finance area, because the entire expertise, if suppose they utilize in the MSME production, then the profitability will increase. However, there should be some assistance from the government, which will be the cell, and that cell will help them from where they will get the credit. As regard emergency credit line, as you rightly said, during COVID period, the government has extended that emergency credit line, and the corpus was almost 3 lakh crores. It was again extended to various sectors also. But those MSMEs, those who have taken the ECG, ECLGS, the percentage is of NPA is only 14%. That is really less if compared to all others. So it has to be advocate during that period. The banker should insist to take the emergency credit line, and which we have done. Just to quote, Bank of Maharashtra's gross NPA is 2.19 and net NPA is 0.23. That is, I think, the success where even MSME NPAs are absolutely less in our case. As regard extending emergency credit line, the government should definitely think of it. But while extending it, we should specify the area where we should do that. If suppose in credit assistance where the natural calamities are there, we are nowadays looking at various areas, we are facing lots of natural calamities. So that in that area we can again extend so that MSME can be protected. Even in some sector, due to some changes in the policies, some liquidity crunch is there. In that area also we can extend. Seasonal industries are there also, but it has to be done very carefully because again the NPA cycle is, we are at the lowest now. Entire industry is at the lowest since we are booming. But as a banker, as a PSU banker, we should be very careful while lending the loan, and it should be given to genuine people where it is really required. That is why my opinion is, and government is really doing well as regard MSMEs, and I think bankers are also doing. Ashutosh ji said regarding this digital records, the bankers are taking help of digital records, sir. As regard finance to chai tapri wala, just looking at his statement of account where the amount is credited through the QR code. We saw his statement. We have calculated daily how much amount he is getting and what is his sale, and out of that sale we have finance to him. So these people are unorganized people are also coming in the organized sector by using these digital records and QR code or UPI and all these things. So extremely all fintech companies are really helping poors also. And I think there should be a collaboration and cooperation between bankers and this fintech company, so that MSME will definitely get some support, and the Indian economy will be boomed the way we are expecting, or the Prime Minister is expecting.
Very nice, sir. Very nice, sir. We're very happy to see that Bank of Maharashtra net NPA 0.23%.
Right.
I think it is in banking industry. I think it is a record for the
We are lowest in the industries.
we are lowest in the industry. And that means this SME sector is playing very important role in the economy, and the Bank of Maharashtra is also providing a great facility. My only point was there, up to 5 crore rupees. Collaterals free loan should be provided. I'm not talking about Bank of Maharashtra, I'm talking about it general.
In general.
Why the bankers, when they are getting the guarantee cover also, why they are insisting for a collateral security, even a personal guarantee, even other things they are insisting for that? Have any view, sir?
So, to be very frank, why bankers are not extending this collateral-free loan?
Right.
Because this guarantee money, while taking it from the fund, it's
Right.
really difficult task. I should not say something negative about it, but it is really a tough task. And that is the reason. But we evolved, we'll discuss with the fund, and over the period, the fund will also in a position to provide us, give money back where there is some problem with the MSME customers or borrowers. But yes, the hybrid scheme is also working good. The extension of 2 crore to 5 crore is really good. It's welcome move. We are even giving 8 crore, 9 crore to the people, 5 crore as a guarantee, and the rest is suppose they are giving their property as a collateral. So the combination, some security we could create. That we are doing at our end. All other banks are also doing. And this 5 crore is, I think, for next 2 years at least, it is enough. We should not increase it. After 2 years, we'll take a call on it and we can increase it, so that the encouragement from the bankers will be there.
Very nice. Sir, you are expert and you have a good experience at the corporate financing. When we are talking about the financing access. So, sir, this assets-based lending we are talking about the current assets, maintain 25% of the current assets as it should come as a margin or something like that. So cash flow lending is also coming in a big way. So how you thought about the cash flow lending? It can be without any collateral security also. So some banks also introduce this cash flow lending. So have any view on that respect, sir?
The past experience and empirical data is the important thing in cash flow lending. And normally, MSME people are coming to the bank at very initial stage of their business. Since they start their business and they are coming, though yes, we are there, we are funding on the cash flows. As again, Ashutosh ji rightly said, in case of channel financing or supply chain facility, we are financing to the people. Suppose one company is there, corporate, and it is supplying to a small shops. As soon as this is established that these shop people are giving money to this corporate regularly, and empirical data is there. In that case, we are providing finance to these small shops also, because we know the continuity of supply from that corporate is there. And if suppose they will not refund, then next finance we may control on. Say always bank will think about their money and should be thinking of it. If data is proper, we can take liberty to do that.
So when we are talking about the data now it is system is available. Because we are talking about GST returns, so you can find out the data, how much sale, how much purchases are there. From my account statement, you can assess the requirement of the party and how much his transaction is available in the system. I think now these days, data instead of insisting on the balance sheet or something like that, you can fetch the data from the various other sources also. So if you feel that the balance sheet, other thing, should be insisted by the banker because the SME sector is not preparing the financial data, what you are talking about. And whether we cannot go ahead with the GST return or the account statement of the party.
Yes, sir. Bankers are now coming with the GST data. We do have one sort of scheme on the basis of GST return and the sale which is there. On
Yes,
that basis, we give finance to the MSMEs.
right.
There is that sort of scheme with us, and I am sure that all other banks also we having that type
Right.
of schemes.
Excellent, sir. Bank of Maharashtra, which we actually some my viewer are thinking that respect. Whether other bank can follow the same path as Bank of Maharashtra is following on the GST return basis or account statement basis, can assess the requirement of the working capital finance for that. Thank you very much, sir. I will come back to you. Another one point which you have mentioned regarding the SME sector, because now definition they undergo a change. It plant investment in plant and machinery, if it is a 50 crore and less, that should be a depreciated value and total turnover 250 crore rupees. It is seen that to keep themselves in SME sector, people are restricting their turnover or investment in plant and machinery. That's why they are not coming up a medium size or large size industry. Have any view how the government should view in that respect for the SME sector?
Actually, the major reason of doing it is different. They don't want to show that they are grown up, because then in that case the two, three, four companies put together, their profit will increase and they have to pay lots of income tax to the
Yes,
uh,
sir.
authority.
Yes.
So this is, I think, a very big issue, and that is the reason. But at the same time, maintaining all statutory obligations of 4 or 5 companies is big headache. I really advise my borrower many times, don't keep these 2, 3 companies, because you have to follow all the statutory, you have to file return, GST return, you have to file this all income tax return. Many things are there.
Sir.
Why you want to do all these things? Put it together so that you will grow, and let us pay something to the government which has helped you to come out of from small to, micro to small to medium to large. So
Sir.
again, income tax structure is also plays a vital role in this entire things. Yes, but we are since we are developing, we are growing. Many things will come, many changes we are expecting, and this also be overcome once the tax structure will be changed. That is what I feel personally.
Sir, excellent, sir, excellent. I think you are a really a banker who has a long thoughts for that, and you are helping the SME sector. Because I know you're working, you are helpful to all the SME sector, even for the corporate also. Sir, I will come back to you. Now I'm coming
Yes.
to Mr. P. Ravi Kumar. He is a Chief General Manager, National Small Industry Corporations. He has done MBA, his specialization in marketing and finance. He joined NSIC in the year 1989 and served in various capacities across India and South Africa. He was posted as head of the Karnataka region in the year 2008, and the year 2010 took over as general manager heading southern state of India. In the year 2016, he became the chief general manager. He lost a vast experience, background of 34 years in facilitating promotion, development, and financing the micro, small, and medium enterprises in India and abroad. You know that National Small Industry Corporation play very important role for the development of the micro, even SME sector. Even they are providing the raw material, they are arranging the funds, they are providing the margin money or something like that. Listen to him. So I'm just asking, can a pool fund model inspire the other investor, trust funds, or a mutual fund helping in boosting SME sector in India? Have any views, sir, on that respect? Because it's a pool fund model which has come. Because I know in the Netherlands, there is a system where the government and private sector join together, put a equity, put a funding to SME sector. So SME is not facing any type of financing difficulty. When we are talking about the pooled fund model, what is that model, sir? And how it can be helpful to SME sector, sir? Mr. P. Ravi Kumar, sir, please.
Thank you, Gupta ji, for the long introduction, and thanks for having me, Resurgent India. Before answering your question, I would like to briefly talk about NSIC, the support services what we are providing to the MSME sector in India. NSIC basically provides integrated support. We provide credit, raw material support, marketing support, and all other support services required by MSMEs like skill development, training, international cooperation, technology support. So basically, we provide integrated support to the MSME, the one-stop service for the MSMEs, and we are under the Ministry of MSME. So we also implement the schemes of the Ministry of MSME. For example, when the Atmanirbhar Bharat Sri package was announced, 10,000 crores was earmarked as a mother fund. That 10,000 crores as a mother fund from the Ministry of MSME has been given to NSIC. NSIC has established a subsidiary called NSIC Venture Capital Fund Limited, NVCFL. So this mother fund is supporting the daughter funds. Daughter funds, in turn, have to support to the MSME by contributing 5 times of what they are taking from the mother fund. This equity fund support through this NVCFL has taken off very well, and within a short span of the life of this fund is supposed to be 15 years. Within 2 years, we have committed 6,000 crores. We have helped more than 200 MSMEs, and an entire list of the daughter funds who have got the commitment from NSIC, and the MSMEs, those who got benefited through these daughter funds, is available on the website of NVCFL, National NSIC Venture Capital Fund Limited. Why I'm talking all these things? We are talking about a traditional, a source of fund and alternative, emerging alternatives. So this venture capital is one of the emerging alternative. We spoke about the challenges. In the challenges, we also earlier speaker spoke about the financial literacy. The financial literacy also includes awareness. The MSMEs are not aware of the schemes available, the funding options available, like venture funding, angel investors, crowdfunding. There are so many models available, but due to this lack of awareness, people are not able to, take these routes. So more and more awareness has to be created through workshops, seminars, like Resurgent is doing now. I compliment them for organizing such a webinar and virtual session. So like this, I am sure they'll be arranging more and more, and will be creating a lot of awareness among the MSMEs. We also have a flagship scheme of raw material assistance scheme. One of the very popular scheme of NSIC is a raw material. Raw material support is very important for manufacturing sector. When they are able to get the raw material at competitive price, they'll be able to sell their product also at the competitive price and by having a good margins. So when, as we told that due to the financial literacy, lack of awareness, a lot of people take credit from the market, informal market, like dealers. Generally, dealers they charge 3 to 5% when they give credit. They give credit, but it is costing very high. So NSIC raw material assistance we support not only by providing the credit support, the main support is providing quality raw material at competitive price. We aggregate the requirement of MSME sector and we sign the MOUs with the manufacturers. We negotiate the best discounts and pass on these discounts to the MSMEs. The MSMEs, what they are paying interest to us, it is nullified by way of this competitive price or cash discount, whatever they get. So we have a arrangement with many manufacturers for steel, aluminum, copper, coal, bitumen, polymers, cement. So MSMEs are even not aware about this scheme also. Numbers, if you see, very less. So this is a very good scheme, to reduce the cost of their production by procuring raw material at competitive price. So apart from this, as I told, we have many other schemes. Marketing support scheme. We help them in marketing their products to the government department through the public procurement policy, and also taking them abroad to the international platforms through our international cooperation, international exhibitions, and we provide them skill development, employment, job fairs. We conduct, training centers to provide employment. Uh, uh, Implementing full fund model inspired by REITs. It could be potentially enhance the MSME finance in India if you follow this model by following the best practices internationally, like you were telling about the Netherlands model. Definitely, it will be beneficial to MSME sector. It will enhance the finance options for MSME sector. Such a model may attract diverse investors, providing a more robust financial ecosystem for MSMEs to access funding and support economic growth. However, the success would depend on regulatory framework, investors' confidence, and effective management of the pooled funds. International best practices often emphasize transparency, efficiency, and accountability in various sectors. India can learn from these global approaches by implementing streamlined regulatory processes, fostering innovation, and enhancing institutional capacities. Additionally, adopting measures to promote ease of doing business, improving infrastructure, and ensuring effective governance can contribute to aligning with international standards and attracting foreign investment. Learning from successful models globally can help India identify areas for improvement and implement strategies to enhance overall economic development. Real estate investment trust REITs are very key consideration when constructing any equity or fixed income portfolio. They can provide added diversification, potentially higher total returns, lower overall risk. Their ability to generate dividend income along with capital appreciation makes them an excellent counterbalance to the stocks, bonds, and cash. These REIT investing involves real estate investment trusts, and REIT owns and manages income producing commercial real estate, whether it is properties themselves or mortgages on those properties. Where REIT investing is concerned, you can invest in companies individually through an exchange traded fund or with a mutual fund. There are many types of REITs available. Using REIT to invest in real estate can diversify your portfolio, but not all REITs are created equity or equality. Some REITs invest directly in properties, earning rental income and management fee. Others invest in real estate debt, that is, mortgages and mortgage backed securities. In addition, REITs tend to focus on specific sector of properties such as retail or shopping centers, hotels, resorts, or healthcare and hospitals. One of the biggest benefit of REIT is their high yield dividends. REITs are required to pay out 90% taxable income to the shareholders. Real estate investment trusts are historically one of the best performing asset classes. Historically, investors looking for yield have done better investing in real estate than fixed income. The traditional asset class For this purpose, a carefully constructed portfolio should consider both the real estate investment trusts and the infrastructure investment trust were launched in India in 2014. Since these instruments are relatively new to the Indian investing environment, there is much doubt about their effectiveness and the benefits.
Thank you, Ravi. I think you have covered very nicely. You're talking about the daughter fund and mother funds. You have mentioned about 6,000 crores has been disbursed.
Yes, sir.
So
It
it
is
is a
not.
20% of the total amount. That means 80% should come from mother source and 20% you are giving as a equity or something like that. So my submission to you is a 1:4 ratio. What we are talking about the 1:5 ratios.
1:5.
So that means 6,000 crore has been disbursed. So it means it is about 30,000 crore rupees has been disbursed. Is it disbursed for 200 units?
No, no. Here, it is not dispersed. There is a difference between drawn and commitment. 6,000
Okay,
crores has been committed.
okay,
These
sir.
daughter funds have not drawn the entire amount.
Okay, sir.
So they have amount has been committed only as and when they have the suitable MSME they find, they draw the money.
Okay,
So
sir.
even ministry also doesn't release the entire 6,000 crores at one stretch.
Okay,
So
sir.
as I told, it is a 15 years old fund. So yearly 400 to 500 crores is a drawdown.
Oh, nicely, nicely,
So
sir. I could
commitment is
understand.
6,000 crore, drawdown is so far 800 crores. This
Okay.
800 crores has been invested in 155 MSMEs like that.
So beside the
But
venture fund, we are talking about the venture fund or daughter fund or the mother funds. So remaining amount 20% they are giving. What about the remaining 80%?
yes, 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 I'm coming back. Suppose they are drawing 200 crores from us, they have to invest 1,000 crores.
Nice, sir. That's a point.
So yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Total 50,000 crores of equity will be injected in MSME sector.
Very nice. Very nice. Sir, you are also, I think, your NSIC, you are also member of the team which done a policy framework for SME,
Yes, sir.
the Republic of South Africa, and have also presented paper on international framework during Tri-Nation Summit on Small Business Development in India, in South Africa and India. I think this is the paper you, I think NSA has presented for that. Have any view for the international difference between the international financing to SME sector and Indian? Because you are suggesting the South Africa, you are suggesting to wherever you are suggesting Europe also. What is your suggestion to the Indian SME sector, to the Indian government, to fall in line with the Netherlands or something like that? That system can be placed in India also, sir?
Definitely, definitely. Let me share our experiences
Sir,
of preparing the policy framework South Africa.
sir.
So our model is very relevant for many developing countries or underdeveloped countries. So when our model is relevant for the developing countries and underdeveloped countries, the model of the developed countries is very much relevant for India.
Okay, sir.
For example, when we shared our best practices and experiences through our policy framework in South Africa, which they have implemented, and there is a visible, growth and improvement in the statistics of MSME figures. When we were there while making the policy, numbers were very less. It was totally dominated by the corporates and multinational companies. Even when some MSME comes there, they used to kill the MSME with all the unethical practices and all. But we have introduced such a products wherein there is no competition from the big players. Like with our success stories from India, we have established the training cum demonstration centers of select MSME projects so that the unemployed youth there can get the training in these demonstration cum technology centers and then start their own ventures with the help of the government. We rather mentioned about the collateral free loans like our CGTMSE. Banks were very rigid there, like there are European banks, they were not giving any collateral free loans and all. So when we mentioned about our kind of experiences in India, there also the organization similar to NSIC, Small Enterprise Development Agency, started encouraging MSMEs by introducing various schemes which are successful in India, and also supported banks there through credit guarantee support and all that. So definitely the developed nations models are relevant for India, like you said about Netherlands model or any other model in this regard.
Very nicely, sir. That's one point because you are interacting with globally with other countries also. There was a global value chain. A smartphone, just like for example, I'm giving you a smartphone in China, include graphic designing elements, where United States complete codes are available, and from France, chips are available, Singapore metals are available. Such countries are different model, different techniques are there, and they are combining together, having the global value chain. Whether such a national small industry corporation is thinking such system should also come in India, or in India it is prevailing, sir, anyway?
No. Actually, we are having a MOUs with various countries for exchanging of such best practices, technology transfer, and giant ventures. Like with South Korea, we have such MOU. With Taiwan, we have an MOU. With Russia, we have an MOU. So we are regularly conducting this virtual session between the entrepreneurs of those countries and our countries with a MOU arrangement with a similar organization in that country. So we are working on this and helping many MSMEs to go for such technology transfers, joint ventures, and best practices happening in those countries like Korea, Taiwan, Russia. Of course, we have more than 20 MOUs in vogue as of now. It is we are doing under our international cooperation program.
Very nicely, sir. I think if the even National Small Industry Corporation, what we are talking about the global value chain, such thing can be happened. I think what we are talking about the efficiency in technology in for SME sector can improve. Even one
Yes.
part can be done by the Indian, another
Yes.
part you can do for other country. If we have a tie-up, I think that will play a very important role for the development of the SME sector. So thank you very much, sir. So just I'm telling to bankers, bankers are the heart of any growing economy. As bank grows, the economy grows. And as the economy grows, the bank grows. It is mutual reinforcement in relationship. So my point is, when our SME sector grows, definitely bank will also grow. Now I'm coming to a last word, advice to the our listener, advice to our participants. So I'm requesting Shri Manoj Bharanwaj to please give a short advice to the participants. What's your advice to them? So they should follow. So they should not feel any type of, you can say, shortage of it, working capital limits or a term loan or any credit facility from the future. Only few words, sir, from your website.
Whenever you are approaching to the bank, your project should be showing a profit, the first and foremost thing. Yes, in some new companies and startups, in previous years there is no profit, but the idea should be in is such that it should click to the banker. Banker is not applying much expertise on it. It's a common sense normally we are using while sanctioning the loan, but yes, it should be digestible. uh, and if it is making profit, you have some experience, and your background is good, means you have qualified for that particular business, having knowledge of it. All these things we are looking, sir. We are really focusing on MSME, and we are ready to finance them. And most of the time we are finding good people, having a good intention to grow the business, and they are getting finance from us, sir. So don't hesitate to come to the bank, any bank, including Bank of Maharashtra. We are there to support you, and we are supporting the Indian economy since last 85 years, rather 65, 75 years. 85 years is life of uh, years we are serving to country. So we are there.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Now I'm coming to Shri Ravi Kumar ji.
Ji.
He also mentioned that the NIC is providing a raw material, venture capital, and marketing. Even they are also arranging a trade fair in a foreign country. Sir Ravi ji, last year advice to the our entrepreneurs who are listening to you, sir. Any advice to them, sir?
Yes, of course. When they have to avail the credit from the banks or loan from the bank, they have to maintain the financial discipline. They have to maintain accurate financial records, and they have to establish a credit history, and they have to leverage alternative funding models like what we have, NVCFL, equity funding, crowdfunding, and digital funding. All that they can have, and of course, the marketing of their products, they should be aware of avenues like public procurement policy, 25% reservation, MSMEs, all these central government departments and PSUs mandatorily they have to procure 25% from the micro small enterprises. They should try to avail the government schemes what are there for marketing support, credit support, and all other, like we have a DSF, a digital service facilitation. For becoming a MSME mart member, the government is giving 75% subsidy. It's upfront subsidy, they need not to pay. To become a member of our global MSME mart, 6,000 rupees is the annual membership fee, out of which 75% is paid by the Ministry of MSME, rather reimbursed by. That is a front end. Just by paying 1,500 rupees, they will have access to the whole lot of information: domestic trade leads, international trade leads, B2B, all lot of information they have. So they should be aware of all such marketing support schemes. There's a scheme of a ramp from the Ministry of MSME. All this information is available in my MSME app. The schemes and services of all the ministries for MSMEs is available in this MSME app. One should know about that, and they can just get a lot of information, sea of information about the schemes.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I requesting Shri Ashutosh Kaparia, sir. Have any words or advice to our participants, sir?
I think I can definitely yes, but it may be a little contrary to the other panelists. I think my recommendation to new businesses, business owners, etc., is fundamentally focus on making your business strong. Right. I think for years, um, businesses have been required to approach banks in a particular parameterized sort of a process with required set of information. I think the advice that is there to businesses is make your business so strong that banks are willing to launch newer products. Like Manuji mentioned that Bank of Maharashtra has launched product where GST based financing is there. There are newer products that banks are launching based on just say GST as well as bank statement triangulation out, right? Now that's happened because the growing demand of SMEs was there and it warranted for banks to make the change and launch new products. So I think the other advice is also to all the banks in India as well as outside India is to ensure that we keep on developing new products. The need of the hour is joint partnership between banks and fintechs. There are multiple partnership examples which exist, but I think there is headroom for doing more so that we can launch together newer products to cater to the SME ecosystem, where the SMEs are doing all the hard work, getting the businesses right, and we can enable liquidity through new products to them.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I requesting Aditya, sir.
Yes, thank you. My submission would be similar to what Mr. Ashutosh said, that all the MSMEs focus more on the fundamentals of your business, focus on adding value to the customer, and finance will follow. There are moments of sometimes tight liquidity, but I think with the democratization of technology, technology leading to democratization, and the government's focus as well on helping MSMEs, the money will follow. So wherever there's a strong business, wherever there is something unique that the SME is doing, the finance companies will be there to help them.
Thank you very much. In the end, I think this was a good interaction session on the challenge of SME, and we get something new information regarding the, you can say, underwriting, credit underwriting, and other aspect of the pool fund model, and how the emergency line of credit can further improve the growth of the SME sector credit. This aspect, I think, will be useful to our participants, to our entrepreneurs, and we are thankful to the participants who always oblige us in almost all the webinars. We are thankful to them. We are thankful to Sri Manoj sir, who is our main pillar. Whenever we are requested him, he grandly agreed to give her his blessing to us and his views, state views about the banking sector. The Bank of Maharashtra, as he informed, is one of the leading banks of nationalized bank and doing excellent work under the various fields. Under his leadership, Bombay zone has shown a new path for the enterprise. I'm thankful to him. I'm thankful to see P. Ravi Kumar, Chief General Manager, National Small Industry Corporation, who is also well experienced under the global fields, and he given the insight of the NSIC, what type of facility they are providing. I'm thankful to the Astosh Paparia sir, who is very straightforward, and he given us a new information about the underwriting of the credit, which can be boost the SME sector. I'm thankful to Sri Aditya sir, who is also expert in the various fields. So in the end, I have no word to express my gratitude toward all my eminent speakers, to all of the participants. I'm also thankful to the officer team who are doing excellent job for our research team. We are thankful to Mr. Rohan. We are thankful to Mr. Rajan. We are thankful to Mr. Lokesh, Joginder, and Devaki. Although they are not coming on the screen, but they are the main architect of such webinars. We are taking a trouble to have a marketing, inviting the people, thinking the problem should not be there. Although today my system was not proper working, still we try to manage something. Uh, so I left some question and answer because it is not visible in my screen. Some problems with the system is available in there. But still, I am thankful to my participants. If any question is there, we will separately reply to these people. No problem for that. I am the end. So I require your blessing. For research in India, just I am telling you, we are doing a technical economical viability study. We are procuring DPR. If any SC in the sector required any assistance, although we are doing all big accounts, still we are at the disposal of the entrepreneurs. If any assistance required from the research in India, we are there. We are thankful. So again, from core of my heart, as a research in India behalf of my personal behalf, to all the participants, all the eminent speakers, all the my off screen, my team also. Thank you very much. I close this session with my thanks to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. हाँ जी